Coming up on FTC Top 25, the results for the overall Fright Frenzy Top 25 are in. Let's jump right into it after this.
Your destination for first content, updates, and gaming.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now is supported by Kettering University. If you want to continue enjoying the excitement of robotics, come check out what's going on at Kettering University, including their Combat BattleBots team and First Center. Turn your robotics experience into a professional career. Be sure to apply to Kettering beginning in August of 2022. Go to kettering.edu/apply to learn more.
Welcome to the FTC Top 25, where we reveal the top 25 teams you voted for. From First Updates Now, I'm Ishan, and joining me are our boss and Sahil. We hope you've been keeping up with FTC content. We haven't been really releasing much, but we're really excited to do this top 25. Also, make sure to check us out on YouTube. We've been doing some Funalysis, where we've been analyzing some of the top matches of this year. With that being said, let's get right into our top 25. We've got 25 awesome teams that have played Fright Frenzy. To be eligible, teams had to have had an uncensored match of their robot playing Fright Frenzy, regardless of whether it was a remote or traditional match. The top teams were determined through votes cast by the community members and the highest official OPR that the team achieved during the season at an in-person competition, according to ftcstats.org. Teams also needed to be within the top 500 OPR scores to qualify. Boss, take it away with number 25.
Sure, so starting off our Fright Frenzy Top 25 is Team 16461, the Infinity Turtles from Matthews, North Carolina. They were the first team selected on the North Carolina State's winning alliance, and they won the Inspire Award, guaranteeing them a ticket to the World Championship. Besides their amazing and efficient design, I think the biggest thing that makes them stand out is their smooth driving and differential slide setup. With that differential, they can use the full power of their lift motors for both their angled lift and their horizontal extension, making just everything super snappy and fast. I'm confident that whatever robot they show up with to Worlds, whether it be a rebuild or the same one, will perform really well. And right here, we can see this is a remote qualifier match, and I believe they also did submit 4 MTI. 226 is what I remember. And so I think they were really strong last year. I think they'll be really strong this year again. Any thoughts, guys?
Yeah, overall solid robot, simple robot. We're going to see a couple more simple robots as we go through this list, but you can see that driver practice really makes a difference, right? And this team, I bet most teams could build a robot like this, but it's really that driving practice that's allowing them to get 10 plus pieces of freight on that top level and get a very high score.
Yeah, most of the teams, if they're scoring remotely and the MTI submissions, they're getting around 229 to 230, so they fit right in the exact spot to qualify, most likely.
All right, do we want to move on to the 24th spot?
Okay, so at the 24th spot, we have 9879 root -1. They had relatively average scores across the board, but the score that stood out the most was the 358-point match with teams 71-72 technical difficulties, in which they were able to score in the top level for the Alliance-specific hub. The simplistic design for the drivetrain and intake helped them keep consistency throughout the season. And if you can see in their match, they have a U-shaped design, so the wheels, and they gave a lot of clearance so they can easily get over the barricades or go over the sides through the gap.
Yeah, they've been a top team, really known for their Inspire win, I think 2 years ago at the last World Championship, but they have built solid robots in the past. It's good to see them on this list again. Excited to see. I don't know if they qualified for Worlds, but hopefully they'll get a chance to show off their robot 1 or 2 more times.
Yeah, and speaking of a team that has a high score set with technical difficulties, in 23rd we have Team 11970, the Titanium Talons from Woodinville, Washington. And although the Titanium Talons are from Washington, they currently hold the world record of 363 points alongside technical difficulties from their second finals match at the Alabama State Championship. We can see from this match that much like other teams, they're just extremely consistent with their driving and scoring, and that's really what you need for a world record score like that, right? And it looks like they have a tape measure capping mechanism, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of those at Worlds. What are your guys' thoughts on the whole tape measure capping mechanism?
So
yeah,
with
it's
the
definitely really
Go ahead.
effective. Yeah, it's definitely really effective because with that strategy, you can easily be able to do both capping and scoring the ducks while the other person can keep cycling those freights and get those extra points on there.
Yeah, I like the tape measure cap. The one thing that I've seen too many times is the tape measure bending back on itself or just like flopping over because the drive team gets a little spooked and like turns their turret a little too quickly. I think we will see a lot more of them, but I've seen a lot of strategies that use the turret slides in a more efficient way that allows them to cap a lot quicker than a tape measure cap. So we'll have to see how teams are able to balance between the two. All right, in the 22nd spot, we have team 20700 Snap from Austin, Texas. This team's got a crazy maneuverable turret arm that uses carbon fiber to rotate to move their intake out and take freight wherever they want to in space. They're super small and super light, allowing them to fly across the field. They must have some excellent programming and driver practice to control a robot like this. It's really difficult to program an arm to be that maneuverable and that precise in placing freight. I'm very impressed by the way that this team does it. Overall, it's a super clean robot. They won the Texas Central Championship. They were the first team selected, so I don't know if they're going to Worlds, but still, excellent job by them.
I don't think they are going to Worlds, but if they were, I'm sure they would be a huge contender for either Innovate or Design. I mean, you have to have some amazing documentation for a robot that's as good as that. I know they did submit for MTI though, so I'm really, really hoping we get to see them up in Maryland this summer.
Yeah, I heard that they didn't get into Worlds. They're holding like the first spot in case one of them has to drop out. But we can probably see them. They're at MTI most likely.
One of the
And I really like that robot review.
One of the things that I really like about them is they're able to spin the ducks and pick up the ducks at the same time. So they're able to score the ducks while spinning them. And those last couple of ducks, that to me the difference because they're super light, they don't take up much space, and I think that's what's going to set a team apart.
Yeah, and talking a little bit more about that duck mechanism. I know we've seen teams try to do it in a bunch of different ways this year. I remember Wolfpack Machina when they were doing it. They had the same extension for their duck spinner, but then they tried picking it up directly with their intake, and they needed the ducks to fall in front of them on the carousel. But with Snap, because of all the degrees of freedom they have on the robot, it doesn't really matter where the ducks fall. As long as they have enough driver practice, they can pick them up pretty quickly, just like we saw in the reveal video.
Cool. Want to move on to the next one?
In the 21st spot, we have 7390 MSET JellyFish from NorCal region. They placed third in the gold division and became the winning in alliance. Similar to 7172 technical difficulties, they have a design that intakes it pretty quickly, loads the freight onto the top of the robot, and then it has a linear slide kind of extension assembly that shoots it out from the 90-degree angle.
Yeah, and for those that weren't watching NorCal regionals, it was just one different move would have changed the entire match. Just those last couple seconds. If JellyFish didn't hit the hub and didn't knock over the freight on the shared hub, it could have been different teams going to the World Championship. But regardless, an amazing team nonetheless. Hopefully we get to see them at MTI, CRI, or another off-season competition. But I'm sure next year they'll be super strong as well.
Yeah, I really like the side depositing architecture. This is not the first or last. This is not the last side depositing architecture that we're going to see tonight. Really allows you to score efficiently and quickly. Plus, you don't have to control the turret arm. Controlling turret arms are really hard, and they do an excellent job simplifying and making their robot quick. Let's get into our top 20. So in the 20th spot, we have Team 8393, the giant Diencephalic BrainSTEM Robotics team. This team fully embraced turrets and scoring without moving their drivetrain. They've got super long linear slides that allows them to score from anywhere near the warehouse. They're super fast and super efficient when they work. The thing holding this team back is consistency and penalties. Hopefully they can get it fixed up by Worlds. Have you seen this team?
Yeah, I remember seeing their 1+4, 1+5 autos, and then I think everyone saw their negative 780 point match back in one of their qualifiers, but they definitely did do well at states. Their alliance or their playoff matches were crazy. They tied in the first match, I think, then lost in the second, then won the third and won the fourth or something like that. I know they played 4 playoff matches for semifinals or finals. So they definitely had a crazy competition. But I agree with you completely. I think just some more practice and working, ironing out those kinks, and they'll just be a super, super effective team.
So they were the winning alliance captain at Pennsylvania. They got second place Inspire at Pennsylvania, losing to Out of the Box Robotics. So two veteran strong teams coming out of Pennsylvania for Worlds. It's going to be exciting to see those two teams compete.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Coming in 19th place is Team 18438 Wolfpack Machina from Beverly, Massachusetts. The robot consists of an awesome drivetrain with 6 independent wheel suspension that makes going over the barricades look like it's non-existent. Their highest score so far was around 244 points, but I see a lot more potential in their robot and improvements that can help them as they progress through Worlds through the Inspire Award.
Yeah, they were eliminated very early on in the Massachusetts State Championship. They got eliminated in the semifinals, even though they held the number 1 seed. And their biggest downfall was they couldn't work with others and they couldn't do the shared hub. They would keep on getting in their partners' ways, and they just weren't able to score in the shared hub effectively because they're such a big robot. And I think that if they're able to look into both of those problems and fix them up, they'll have a really good shot at Worlds.
Yeah. All right, now that we've talked about some teams in Massachusetts, let's go over to the other coast. In 18th, we have Team 12808 RevAmped Robotics from Portland, Oregon. This team won the Inspire Award and was the first team selected on the winning alliance at the Oregon State Championship. They have an Oregon high score of 344 from back in early February, where they were actually scoring freight that their alliance partner was feeding them. So they weren't even going completely into the warehouse in order to collect freight. Their alliance partner was already delivering it for them, which was just super, super cool. And I think something that's really only possible with sister teams or teams that just have a ton of practice together. Overall, they came to Oregon State with a pretty consistent 1+4 freight auto. And I think one of my favorite things about this robot is how very quickly they can extend freight horizontally using their 4-bar or scissor mechanism. And I think it just makes them super versatile for the shared hub, especially because they can reach those edge corners that other robots traditionally have some trouble doing.
Yeah, I did a analysis on when they did the pass through with their sister team, Overcharged. Really, really cool strategy in that match. Highly recommend taking a look at the analysis. But I think they are going to Worlds, or no, they are not going to Worlds because they were the first pick at Oregon. So neither them nor Overcharged should be going to Worlds out of Oregon, if I'm right.
Or they won the Inspire Award.
Oh, they did win the Inspire
Yeah.
Award. Okay, then they're going to Worlds. Overcharged is not going to Worlds then.
Yeah.
And they're going to go to Worlds with ToborTech. So exciting duo there. RevAmped has always been on Worlds finals fields. I don't think they've competed at the World Championship where they haven't been in the division finals at least. So we'll see how they are able to adapt for a more competitive Worlds.
Yeah.
In the 17th spot, we have 133377 Blackout from Heritage Christian High School in Indiana. They were the winning alliance captain for the Indiana State Championship, scoring up to 324 points. They had an interesting design for their preload drop-off, which I believe uses a tape measure and a 3D printed part to hold the freight. Scoring up to 20 freight on the shared shipping hub as well, they definitely showed that they have a taste for the competition.
Yeah, they got a very small, but it looks like a fairly heavy and durable robot, right? You can see they've got that diamond steel on the outside, the diamond pattern steel on the outside, and they're just really fast. It comes down to driving, I think, at this point for them. They're really good drivers. We'll have to see how they handle maybe having some interactions. I think in a lot of these regions, we're not seeing that much defense like we saw in NorCal, and we're going to have to see how that comes into play at Worlds.
Yeah, and I mean, I know this isn't one of those namesake teams that we hear every single year, but there are honestly a couple more of those on our top 25 tonight. Teams that are just doing really good, really consistent, and even though they weren't getting 300 every single match, they hit that 310, 320 mark a couple times, and they averaged around the mid 200s, making them just a very consistent and good team.
Cool.
Yeah.
In the 16th spot, we've got Team 9356, the EngiNerds. This team's got a really small turret robot that allows them to weave between obstacles and angle their arm to score efficiently. They won the Iowa Regional Championship and should be strong contenders at the World Championship. Really cool bot, really fast bot, really small bot. We're going to see a lot of those. And because they're so small and light, right, their turret just makes them that much more dangerous. right? They can angle it out, and then they can do the little strafe maneuver we see on Up-A-Creek or on some of these other robots that allows them to very quickly score into that shared hub. They didn't need to make the turret super long, so it's not uncontrollable, but it's just very fast.
Yeah, and I think that whole idea of like a small and light thought lends itself to discussion of defense. What do you guys think? How is defense going to be at Worlds? I know we've seen a little bit of it here and there, a lot at NorCal, definitely, and a little bit in other competitions. What do you guys think about it at Worlds?
I think that there's not going to be defense until finals because it's stupid to play defense before finals. It's going to be a matter of who feels like they have their backs against the wall, right? Like if a team feels like they have their backs against the wall and they think that defense is the only way out, they're going to play defense. But knowing the referees that are usually at Worlds, it's going to be very hard to get away with defense and it not be called until later on in competition. So I'm very reluctant to say that defense is going to be a major factor at Worlds.
Yeah, I feel like mostly the lower seeded teams, like ranked 3 and 4, most likely play out defense because they know that they're going to have a disadvantage compared to the top teams who are most likely going to score a lot higher. So then they're going to have to try to play around and create a strategy that helps them get that winning edge. So then they have a shot to move further along in the competition.
It'll also be interesting, I think, to see if like any teams can get a 2 or 3 free advantage in auto, then if they can just shut out the other alliance all the way until endgame. Because if they can do that, then you just have to you don't have to win by a lot. You just have to win.
Great. Let's move on to the 15th spot.
Coming in 15th place is team 17713 Delta Force from Romania. They had a lot of tough competition in their leagues, losing in the semifinals by only 3 to 4 points. Keep in mind that these teams scored above 290 in each match, and Delta Force received second place in Inspire Award for the Romanian National Championships and is currently holding a high solo score of 281 points.
Yeah, really. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's teams like these specifically that I'm really excited to see how they do at state or at Worlds and MTI and off-season competitions, because it's like there's not really a lot of room for things to go majorly wrong in their design. Teams that have like super long extensions or really complicated turrets and things like that, it's common or more common for them to perform way different in practice than in real matches. But Delta Force, I mean, when they were on the field, it just looked like they were playing practice matches half of the time. They are just like, really, really clean robots, super simple and effective. I think they'll do well at their future competitions.
Yeah, they've got everything down so precisely. I would not be surprised if most of their teleop was just autonomous and them using odometry, slamming against that wall, picking up the freight, and then throwing it up there. Really, really quick robot, really, really simple robot. I don't know how it would handle defense. Like, if we see defense, like, I don't know how the drive team would cope with that. And I think that's going to be one of the big differentiators with who you pick at Worlds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is this team battle tested or is it not? And teams that have more veteran experience just tend to get picked more because they can handle defense.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely a main factor in it.
Cool.
Once it comes to in-person matches.
Yeah, definitely. In the 14th spot, we've got team 8610, ToborTech. They're one of the top teams from Oregon and were the winning alliance captain at the Oregon State Championship. Their quick robot and fast deposit allows them to score in the alliance hub. They're also on the bigger side, making them great contenders to play defense at Worlds, but they've also got some great drivers that allow them to be successful. I don't know if I've seen them actually score on the shared hub, but they are overall a solid team. They're doing ducks in this match right now. They've been around forever, and the fact that they were able to break up the revamped Overcharged alliance and take the #1 seed and win Oregon State Championships says a lot about them, since Oregon State is so competitive.
I have seen them play on the shared hub. They're good at it. I mean,
they're good at it. Okay,
they're no slouches at the shared hub. They definitely maneuver properly. I could be wrong, but I believe they go over the bars. And they're really good at making sure they stay within. They don't hit the hub or anything like that.
Right.
And so really, really good team. Cool. So moving on to our 13th slot, this is a team I'm personally very excited to talk about. Team 14481, Don't Blink from Plainsboro, New Jersey. They captained the winning alliance at the New Jersey State Championship with a high score of 328 points. And I think there's just so much to talk about with their robot. They have one of the most unique designs I've seen this year, or maybe unique implementations. And it's just super elegant and compact. And it's insanely efficient at doing either the shared or alliance hub, we can see they have a pretty consistent 1+5. Maybe they'll go for a 1+6 auto, and this is like a 261 practice match. And I can't wait to see what they do at Worlds.
Yeah, awesome team. Big fan favorites. I think New Jersey is very competitive, and the fact that they were able to get out of New Jersey and have a solid performance really speaks to them, right? Like usually we see Cruise Control come out of New Jersey. In the past we had Lambros coming out of New Jersey. This seems to be like the next big team coming out of New Jersey. Really fast, low to the ground robot. They're going to be hard to tip over if defenses come into play.
Yeah, and we've seen them play against defense or just maneuver around in the warehouse in general when there's multiple robots there. They have no issues going over the bars to screw on that shared hub. So I think they'll be hard to surprise when they're playing defense or when they're playing against defense. I think they'll do well.
Anything to add, Sahil?
Yeah, I think I definitely like how they have their different extensions. Like they made a specific mechanism designed just for the shared hub, and then they can continue and go back directly to the Alliance hub and score those amount of points. And it's definitely pretty cool to see that it's pretty low to the ground, and it can help them perform pretty well like that.
Great. Taking the 12th spot is Team 14140 Crash Test. They've got a simple, fast robot that seems well built. The double linear slides in the back seem sturdy, and they've got some good driving to back it. They seem a little too big to score on the shared hub efficiently, but they seem like they would make a great Alliance hub partner. Crash Test is the white robot on this, and they do a great job in this match. Are able to really score quickly and play stuff on that Alliance hub.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited to see. I'm not sure if they made Worlds or not, but I'm excited to see how they do in the future. But in the meantime, let's talk about another one of those teams that we don't hear about too much. This is in 11th place, Team 14188, CyberHawks 14188 from Duluth, Minnesota. They were the captains of the winning alliance at the Minnesota State Championship with a high score of 322 points. And it looks like they have a turret slide design using 2 compliant wheels for their intake. They have a super consistent 1+3 auto and a good shared and alliance cycles. I'm honestly surprised we haven't had more of a buzz about this team in the community. It seems like everything just works really quickly and very well for them, and it shouldn't take too much more tuning or work, maybe tuning, but not too much more work on the robot itself to add 2 to 3 more auto cycles. I could very realistically see them having a 1+5, 1+6 auto going into Worlds without a redesign or anything like that.
Yeah, excellent robot. I'm interested to see how fast they can actually get those linear slides and turret. Seems like they still have to wait for that linear slide mechanism to be fully in place before they can score. But really, really smooth robot.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to see how they perform at the World Championship.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we get into our top 10, Tyler, could you tell us about our sponsor?
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to Kettering University, who is still accepting applications for seniors right now. We're looking to get in some last-second applications to them. If you're not familiar, they're leading engineering university out of Michigan, where they have an amazing first center, a BattleBots program, and an esports arena. And here's a little bit more about how you can get financial aid at Kettering University.
When I was considering where to go to college, one of the biggest things for me was figuring out how I was going to be able to pay for college. And it wasn't really until I came to Kettering to one of the Dog Days of Summer events that I figured out how I was going to be able to do that. And it was actually because of this senior chemical engineering student. She was getting ready to graduate, and she had told me about all of her phenomenal experiences, both on co-op and here on campus. But more importantly, she told me that she was going to graduate debt-free. And that was an eye-opener for me. That was the first time I'd ever heard that from a college student, and so that's when I knew that I was sold. So really from there, as soon as I came to Kettering, I knew that that was going to be my goal. I wanted to graduate debt-free. And I did that through a variety of ways. First, of course, the co-op experience was a tremendous help, but I even looked at ways to work here on campus. So I was a federal work study student. I worked in a variety of organizations, and that not only gave me the extra funds, but also different opportunities to meet people and understand our resources here at Kettering. Also looking at scholarships not only here at Kettering University, but even from my hometown and other sources, all of this cumulatively helped me to graduate debt-free.
Great, Kettering University for sponsoring us. And now we get to start out our top 10. Sahil, kick us off.
Now for the moment you've been waiting for. Up in the 10th seat is Team 6165 MSET CuttleFish. They have a large-sized robot, but a very well-built drive chain that can allow them to move over the barrier with ease. They may have lost in the NorCal finals, but their strategies were definitely amazing to watch. Their drivetrain allowed them to easily go in the middle of the shared hub barrier, pinning the opposing robot against the wall and slowing them down from scoring. They won the Inspire Award and can't wait, and that secured them the spot at World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, MSET definitely has a crazy robot. I think they submitted a 271 or something around that for MTI, so I assume they'll get in. They were definitely pretty good at MTI last year, showed up with a really well-built robot, and I think this year is no exception.
Yeah, their suspension's pretty good. I think that Wolfpack has a slightly better suspension in terms of not like wobbling as they go over, but they're still able to get over those barriers real fast. I think the big thing that sets them apart is the fact that they play defense, right? That completely changed the pace of what happened in NorCal, and I think that they were one of the few teams responsible for that.
I was also surprised how effectively they did the shared hub. I don't remember exactly what match it was, but I just remember one specific match where they decided to switch to the shared hub, and it was just seamless. Like, there was no issues, and everything just clicked. Like, even though they had such a big robot, it just fit wherever it needed to, and they were able to deposit super effectively. They definitely put a ton of time into practicing that, and it showed off, definitely. Yeah. So I think they'll be super versatile at the World Championship.
Cool. In the 9th spot, we've got another NorCal team. It's 12635 Kuriosity Robotics. They've got a really tall robot, but they're able to score really well. They've got a really controllable deposit that allows them to score anywhere on the shared hub, and they're fast at scoring on the Alliance hub. They won the very competitive NorCal region and will be very exciting to watch at Worlds. Amazing design here. Like, all black robot, very tall, but they're able to score very efficiently. They have very precise control of where they place, and that's going to allow them to put more on that Alliance hub and on that shared hub.
Yeah, they had very good strategies for the finals, and they had to go all over the field just to score those points because there's defense going on back and forth between both sides, and they were able to maneuver pretty fast and efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, that turret servo is just so fast. Like, I don't know what they did to it, but it's just like, I'm just so impressed by how fast and efficient it is. It just works every single time.
Right, and then you also see, like, their partner died in this finals match at the NorCal Championship, and they still won it, right? Like, NorCal is a very, very competitive region, and they were able to carry themselves to a World Championship.
Yeah.
Cool. Want to talk about the 8th seed?
In 8th place, we have 12611 TechNova. After the initial design, they have added a turret and an extremely fast outtake system that spins the container to drop it onto the hub. They won the Tennessee State Championship as the Lions captain, scoring just above 260 points. With winning Alliance, they also have managed to win first place for the Inspire Award, securing their chance at Worlds in both aspects.
Yeah, I mean, TechNova, they definitely are a very consistent team. Even if they're not getting like 1+6, 1+7 autos, their 1+4 and 1+5s are very consistent. And we saw them on the shared hub. I think maybe a little bit faster of a robot would be effective, but I mean, I'm sure they've been working on things since Tennessee and Washington states.
Yeah, I thought it was a little weird that a Washington team is going all the way to Tennessee to compete, right? Like, just borderline, like, I don't know how I feel about that, but they've got a solid robot. They won Inspire there. They were winning Alliance captains there as well. Really quick, they have a lot of motions that they have to do with very small servos in order to actually be able to score. So I'm worried about how delicate that is and how efficient that's going to be in the future. But overall, solid robot, solid team. We'll have to see how they do at Worlds.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of Washington teams, I mean, I think we have 4 teams going to Worlds from Washington, even though Washington only has 2 slots. Titanium Talons advanced from Alabama, I think, and then Technototes and High Definition advanced from Washington, and then TechNova now advanced from Tennessee. So, huge Washington showing at Worlds this year.
All right, want to move on to number 7?
Yeah, so speaking of Washington, in 7th place is another team from the state, and this is Team 16750, the Technototes. This team has just been a powerhouse the entire year. from releasing 1+4 or 5 auto videos back in January to just absolutely killing it at the Washington State Championship as the winning Lions captain, the Technototes have done really, really well the entire season. I think personally one of my favorite matches that I saw them play this year was this qualification match against TechNova at the Washington State Championship. It was both of their last qualification matches, and they were just within points of each other. In four rankings, TechNova and Technototes both being 1 and 2, and we see Technototes, they were ahead in auto or just nearly matched in auto, and then throughout the match they decided to play some defense on Technova. I think we can see it a couple seconds in, but it was definitely very effective. They ended up winning the match, ended up captaining the winning alliance at Washington State's and going to Worlds. So great strategy by that team. I think their mini turret is very, very effective, as is their brake system that they have so that they can't be pushed while doing the shared hub.
Yeah, they advanced out of Washington, right? They were winning alliance captains at Washington. Really fast robot, really slim robot, and they've got a lot of pushing force behind them, right? You can see them right here playing defense and able to just push a pretty heavy robot across the field. I'm excited to see how they will play in the future. It looks like they can also score on the shared hub from the opposite side. So I'm interested to see if they're going to do a lot of swapping around or whether they're going to try to stick to their side or not.
Yeah.
Yep. In the 6th seat, we have 11212 Clueless from San Diego, California. Just a month ago, this team obtained the world record at 368 points with their 7-freight auto cycle. This gave them a huge lead as they kept scoring very fast and efficiently on the top level of the Lions hub. They're the winning alliance for the San Diego Regional Championships and received several other awards at this competition.
Yeah, I remember their first match, or one of their first matches at the San Diego Regional Championship. It was 2 or 3 seconds left, and they just knocked over the entire hub trying to cap or score one more freight or something. And despite that, they still ended up ranking first at the San Diego Regional Championship, which was definitely a huge, huge deal for them.
Yeah, I mean, really fast robot. I don't think, do they do a turret or do they just lock it in one position?
I think they have a turret, but I'm not sure. It looks like
they spin it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
and then it folds back in.
The fact that they were able to get dual linear slides on a turret, just really good engineering there, and it looks sturdy, right? They aren't rotating it around or anything. They just intake straight into it. Overall, really solid job. Plus, they can do the corner pickup, right? One of the hard things that's going to happen is as these warehouses get drained, you're going to need to pick up from that corner, and it's going to be really difficult to actually do that. Chat, let us know what you think your top 5 is. We're about to get to top 5. What else were you going to say?
I think their solution for the corner pickup thing is having 2 intakes. It looks like they have one intake that they use on blue and one intake that they use on red. I'm personally interested to see if they have both of them wired all the time, or if it's plug one intake in and then plug the other intake in. I don't know. I guess we'll find out at the World Championship, and they're definitely going to have a good showing there.
Yeah. Cool. All right, just making the top 5 is Team 12533 Inception. Sure, the robot is simple, but they're one of the fastest Alliance Hub scorers out there. They absolutely load up on that Alliance Hub and do it without getting in the way of their partner. Their partner gets better as they play with them. That's why their OPR is so high. Their driving skills is really what sets them apart. They won the Central Texas Championship because of their high scoring, and it'll be interesting to see how they adapt for Worlds and how other teams try to adapt to shut them down.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if someone, or if Inception decides to change their design. I think with what they have right now, they could, rank top 10, top 12. But then when it comes to playoff matches, it would be very difficult for them to score points against any 6-wheel drive robot or any big robot like 6165 playing defense on them. I think it would be near impossible for them to score against that. So I'm wondering, what they decide to do.
Yep. All right, want to move on to number 4?
Sure. So in 4th place, we have Team 12599 Overcharged Robotics from Portland, Oregon. This team has been crushing it the entire year, ending the season with a high score of 344 points, one of the top 10 scores of Freight Frenzy qualifiers. They unfortunately did not qualify for the World Championship, but they definitely had one of the best and most consistent robots this year. I personally think their driving is matched by few, if any, other drivers and robots, and it definitely showed in the insane number of cycles they did. I believe they did apply to MTI, so hopefully, they make it in. We get to see them compete. I remember last year, again, had an amazing robot, and they rebuilt to an even better one for MTI. So, we'll see where they take it from here.
Yeah, really, really excellent robot there. Really close matches. They were not on the number one alliance, and they had to play against the RevAmped and ToborTech, two of the other top two teams in Oregon. But they put up a good fight. Really excellent job by them. Excited to see how they improve for MTI.
Yeah,
definitely
I
really
think,
fast.
I mean,
Yeah,
Sahil, you said exactly what I was thinking.
You can go ahead. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the number 3 seed. Sahil.
At the third ranked team is 11260 Up-A-Creek Robotics. They managed to score very effectively with their turret-styled arm that was used to intake and outtake the freight, scoring one block after another onto the shared hub and being one of the first teams to fully empty the warehouse. They were the winning alliance captain for the Colorado State Championships and received the Inspire Award for first place, proving they will be a real powerhouse at World Championship.
Yeah, and I think now recently we've seen that Up-A-Creek actually built a second robot that's fundamentally the same, small differences here and there, little longer slides, maybe a little thinner or shorter, what have you. But I think overall this new robot, I mean, it's just going to be better than the old one. And we've seen how consistent the old one was. So I can't wait to see what they bring to the World Championship.
I think they're my favorite at Worlds right now. Like, they've got such a clean robot, and they drive it so well. Even with defense, I see a lot of teams struggling to shut them down. It's going to be very, very, very difficult to beat a robot that can accurately place this well and can do it so quickly. Very big fan of them.
And, everyone knows they have the experience of what it takes to get on the Minute Maid. Last World Championships, they were second pick of the losing alliance on Minute Maid. They know, how consistent you have to be, how to play against defense. I mean, they played against rednecks, so they definitely know what to do. And I think they can bring that expertise to the World Championship again.
Yep. Let's go ahead and hear about our number 2 seed.
All right, our number 2 team for the Freight Frenzy Top 25 is Team 8644, the Brainstormers from Lexington, Massachusetts. They were the winning alliance captain and recipient of the Inspire Award at the Arkansas State Championship with a high score of 306 points. They're just the definition of consistency. Everything they do is super smooth, super fast, and results in super high scores. They have one of, if not the fastest linkage slides I have seen this year, and are just so versatile with the shared or alliance hub. I mean, we can see that they start off doing 1+5, 1+6, 1+7 cycles in auto, and then as soon as auto ends, they go over to the shared hub and they just put cycle after cycle after cycle there. And they're just so consistent. And I'm sure that 6-wheel drive is going to help them a ton at the World Championship.
I think what really sets them apart is that linkage that they use on the extension. Really, really clean job done there. I'm worried about when they try to reach out for the far ends of the shared hub. They do have to drop the pieces of freight from a bit of a height, and that could cause them to fall off, right? You're seeing a couple of falls off on this alliance hub, and that's just because they've got so much up there. I'm interested to see how they're going to try to make it so then they don't drop off those pieces of freight later on.
Well, if they want to be more careful, they could definitely just use their extension for the shared hub.
Right.
I'm sure they know they're going to win anyways. They might as well just go as fast as they can right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, another thing I noticed is during one of the matches, they kept going back and forth to the other opposite warehouse, and they were able to score while going there and getting a few freights back and forth, and put a really good, strong defense as well. Yeah. And even though it caused them a few penalties.
Yep. I think they're very good drivers. They're very well practiced. They're definitely going to be competitive at Worlds. The question is, where are they going to rank and which alliance do they end up on? Right? Are they going to end up on an alliance with Up-A-Creek or the next team we're going to talk about? Or are they going to end up being the 4th seed and trying to scrap together an alliance of really top tier teams?
All I know is if I was a Mechanum robot, I would not want to play shared against Brainstormers. That would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Let's get into our number 1 seed. In the number 1 spot is Team 7172, Technical Difficulties. Their robot architecture very unique with their side depositing that allows them to pick up from both sides and score very, very fast. They can accurately place anywhere on the shared hub and do cycles very quickly on the alliance hub. Their autonomous is flawless, and overall, this team is going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, I think in qualifications, sure, it'll be very difficult to beat. But I think people who are watching Alabama State's, it was either finals one, I think it was finals one, or maybe one of the semifinals where they weren't doing that hot against defense. It was pretty easy to shut them down. And I think if we see a team like Brainstormers or Up-A-Creek or MSET or any of these big teams play against them, they should be able to shut them down pretty effectively in playoffs. So it'll be really interesting. But at the same time, they have that huge auto advantage. Their intake is just magic. Like I don't even know. It seems to just pick up freight from wherever they aim it.
Yeah, really clean robot. Go ahead.
They're definitely the first team to design that pick it up from one side and drop it at 90-degree angles, and that just made them really fast and efficient since the beginning.
Yeah, I cannot wait to go to Worlds and see what they did on their intake, because it seems like I mean, obviously, it flips to both sides, but I think it also rotates in the theta direction or in the X direction, I guess you could say, and it's just super, super effective.
Yeah, very, very clean robot. I think definitely one of the top teams here. We're going to have to see, again, where do they end up? What alliance are they on? And how is that going to work out? They do have a wiggle intake, is what someone in the chat is saying. Anyways, that's going to wrap up the top 25 for the Freight Frenzy season. What teams do you think deserve to be in the top 25 that weren't? Let us know in the fun Discord or comment on the YouTube video. And don't forget to vote in the top 25 each month next year.
Thank you for all the follows and subscriptions we've received today. Don't forget that you can subscribe for free through Twitch Gaming. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of FTC Top 25. And if you want to stay connected with what First Updates Now FTC is doing, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all with the handle @FunFTC. And join our Discord through the link in the chat.
On behalf of myself, Sahil, Abbas, and our producer Tyler working behind the scenes, I want to thank you for tuning in. Keep an eye out for FTC recaps in the future on YouTube and for when we do FTC Top 25 in the future as well. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Thanks to Kettering University for their support of this video. Kettering University hosts 3 co-op employment fairs each year for incoming and current students. Participating in the co-op employment process at Kettering is a great way to begin turning robotics experience into a professional career to earn money towards graduating debt-free. If you are a senior, it's not too late to apply at kettering.edu/apply. Thanks for watching. If you want to join us for future fun streams, be sure to click the follow button and turn on the notification bell to know when we're live. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. View archives and unique content at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.